Welcome to the Dodgers Prospects. I'm Casey Porter of Dodgers Daily, joined as I am each and every week by Tim Rogers of Dodgers 2080. And this week, we've both been doing the MLB Pipeline Dodgers Top 30 Prospects list, so we're going to double team this one for Rayne Doncon and Josue DePaula. Did I say that correctly, Tim? Josue?
Pretty good, pretty close. It's like a combination of a Y and a J. It's Josue.
Josue, okay.
Like a little bit of a J, a little bit of a Y.
Okay, so
yeah.
You know, I'm going to preface this by saying I have seen Rayne Doncon play a little bit. I have not seen Josue DePaula play at all. And the really cool thing about this is you got to see him quite a bit at spring training. So, you know, as far as the prospect feature, you know me, I don't like to give evaluations or give opinions on guys that I haven't seen, and I'm just reading something off of a paper. So here we are. This is going to be, for both of us, part of this Dodgers prospect, top 30 prospect series. This is going to be the prospect feature, at least from my side of it, for these two. So I appreciate you doing that, Tim. So, hey, I'm going to turn the mic over to you. I know you have lots of great video on these two young, great prospects. So have at it.
Yeah, so we'll talk about Rayne Doncon. So here's the little funny thing about Doncon is I actually asked Marco Hernandez how you pronounce his first name. He goes, I don't know. We just call him Donkey. So I'm going to call him Donkey periodically. I mean, it's kind of like when Eddie's Leonard. No, it wasn't Leonard. It's Leonard. So it's got to be something different than just Rain. I mean, even though that's what it looks like. It's yeah. Yeah, but and that's correct. But yeah, for Donkey, it's I don't know. His first name's I am gonna ask him. I expect him to be with the Quakes. So I first got eyes on him last spring training a little bit. I had read a little bit about him. He'd showed up in lists and a couple things, and he's like 18 at the time, I think. And but just he seemed really. Getting a lot of playing time, so that's always one thing I look for is how much of the Dodgers using him out there, and he was getting plenty of playing time. He was at shortstop last year, all shortstop last year, and looked fine to me. I've read a little bit about they say, well, his body's going to change, and it may, and he might even play out of a shortstop position. So it's kind of interesting because this year, he is bigger. And it's not bad weight either. It's just he's going to be a really big guy. And I did get eyes on him, of course, at Rancho. It was great to see him get called up. It's like whenever those guys come up that you keep reading about and you get a little glimpse of them and stuff. It's like, I got to see him more. And he's a strong guy. They played him last year mostly at shortstop when I saw him. But also a little bit at second because last year they had a glut of shortstops at the end of the year.
Freeland and McLean and
Sean McLean and Alex Freeland. Yeah. It's like, oh my! And that's why they promoted Gauthier up there to because of they had the glut because they drafted 100 shortstops this year last year. I mean, just a ton. Yeah. And so there's more coming too, and
which
so
is why really cool I think Eddie Leonard may start in AAA just so you can get all those guys playing time.
Yeah, well, he's not on the roster
yet.
Not
start, but pretty soon, I should say.
I think so too. I mean, tonight was Luke Williams starting for OKC.
Yeah.
That game's not worth the watch. No,
nope,
not worth watching.
Nope, not even covering it. I didn't go. Not covering it.
I'll talk about it later tonight on my little mini live thing. But not what we want to see. But so back to Donkey. I do. He's good swing and everything. He looks good. He's a strong guy. Ball definitely comes off the bat hard. And he was just 18, maybe 19 last year. Just a big, strong kid. And then this year, I go see him in spring training, and he was him and Wilman Diaz every other day. One would be at short, one would be at second. Next day, they switched. And that was what it was every day, for the 6-7 days I was there. They did that. And but Donkey is big. He's a big guy. And and so maybe some of those guys are right that were writing about him that he's going to might grow out of shortstop, not in height. I mean, he's 6'2", 6'3". Depends on if you add the hair or not, but he's a thick and a good, a strong guy, really strong looking guy. And the Dodgers again during their spring things that they were doing, he was always playing, batting higher in the order. And I didn't see a ton of at-bats with him. I was, doing so much filming of pitching, so I didn't get the greatest of at-bats with him. But you did hear the ball, and that's what I hear. Batting is not my specialty, that's for sure. But when you hear that thump off the bat and that good solid, it's that real strong sound. You know it when you hear it. So he looks like he's going to probably start at Rancho again. And I'm really intrigued with what they're going to do with him. I could see him as a third baseman too, with that size, and I think the power is going to be there. I think he even played a little bit of left field last year.
Right, I'm sure.
So, yeah, and he's a Dodger, so guess what? He's got to play everywhere.
I mean, Eddie's Leonard played some center field, so
yeah. So I like I like what I saw of him. He's a like most of these guys, he's a really good kid. He works hard. He's out there grinding, and like him and Willman were really good together. Mm-hmm. And I've mentioned it briefly. That everyone has now slept on Willman Diaz. That guy looked great.
Right.
Just looked so darn good. So it's very exciting to see these young guys, these middle infielders coming up. They're going to be legit players. There's just this a bunch of shortstops, and there's guys that didn't even make it to Rancho yet, and they'll be there this year. So Donkey is middle infielder now, but could be a corner infielder or a corner outfielder. Really, I think he's a good athlete. He's got some good speed. He's strong. When I've seen him field, he looks good. Yeah. Given his age, I mean, age is, with these kids, it's kind of a different, you just don't know, right? But he's so far looking good. When you see shortstops in low A, you will see a lot of errors. Yeah. All of them. I'm sure that, except maybe Ozzie Smith, but a lot of these guys, they make a lot of errors, but they just keep getting better and better. Mm-hmm. It's just part of it is growth, knowing to control themselves out on the field, not trying to make the perfect play every time, or the highlight reel every time. The Tatis Jr. type thing. It's like, hey, I got to look good.
Sometimes there's not enough strikes, and so it's just hard to play defense because, it's like 10 minutes in between balls that are in play, right?
Yeah. Yeah, especially at Rancho last year.
Yeah,
that was special, special in that way. Donkey's going to be a fun one to watch, and it seems that I think they're going to push him pretty fast. And speaking of pushing pretty fast, so Josue DePaula. We've heard a little bit about him because I looked at some of those ACL games and the DSL games last year. Just the number.
ACL being Arizona Complex League. Used to be the Arizona League, the AZL. Now it's the ACL.
Yeah, and I'll still say the C stands for cactus in my head.
Yeah, but right. And then the DSL is the Dominican Summer League, which, by the way, that's the only international league left. There used to be a Venezuelan league, I think. But if you're an international player, you now have to go to the Dominican League to play.
Yeah.
So
they're sending these poor 17-year-old kids away from home. And it's kind of a weird. It's a weird thing. It's a bummer that it is that way. But you see you saw numbers of him, and you're going, okay, what's going on? What do we have here? And then was it? Oh gosh, the Fangraphs guys put him like number 7 on their list, and there's someone who's going, oh, okay, that's interesting. Let's get some eyes on him. The kid's 17 years old. 17. He was born in Brooklyn, but was an international player because he moved to the Dominican for a bit. So he is bilingual. He's a big kid. He's 6'3" already. He obviously doesn't look 17. But I just hate to start making comparisons, but it's inevitable that people are going to say Juan Soto. The way he manages himself at the plate, his presence, Soto kind of overdoes it with his walks and all that, and it doesn't bother me because it just looks like he's locked in. So it's like, okay, yeah, you add a couple other things, but that guy does have an amazing eye, and I saw some of that from Josue, but also just there was an at bat where he was down 0-2. And it ended up being like a 10-11 pitch at bat. I can't even remember what happened. I think he ended up, flying out or something like that. But he battled. This is a 17-year-old, going against guys that are out of college. Yeah, he's batting against guys like Madison Jeffrey or Ben Kasparias. I mean, or in the games that I saw, he also played against Great Britain in the WBC. And the Dodgers always had it. He started, played a lot, batted third. So this is a 17-year-old kid batting third with a lot of veterans out there, and so that was interesting to see. I filmed a lot. I got a lot of video of him. I just kept getting more and more. Every time it came at bat, I just kind of stopped everything else. Sorry, pitchers, I'm not focusing on you for that. He was just, it could be something very special. And I hate to put pressure on a 17-year-old. I'm not trying to do that. But, and again, the parallel, how about a parallel? Let's say that. Juan Soto was brought up to the Nationals when he was 19 years old. Mm-hmm. And that was a good team at the time. And at the time, they still had a Bryce Harper when they brought him up. And so he played left field and then went to right for Harper when he left. And they didn't hold him back. And so I'm hoping that if this kid has what it takes, let's move him up. Move him fast if he's ready for it. It's a lot, you see these kids, and he is truly a kid. And, they're still kids. Mm-hmm. And to see them having to deal with pressure and all that is always just kind of it'll be a nice little trial for him to see and how he responds to it. There's the people like I think one of the best examples I've seen of someone going through the fame and handling it really well has been Diego Cartaya. Right. All that pressure on him, and he's amazing. I mean, we both
handles it well, doesn't he?
He really does. He's a forget about the baseball. He's just a star. Yeah, he has that he knows he's in the spotlight at the same time, but but he's also behaving like he's just a really good human, and so let's see what happens as maybe there's some pressure to push him forward a little bit. I'd like to see the guys get pushed a little if they have what it takes. Let's bring him up. I know they go, well, but then he's going to be a free agent at 26 like Soto's going to be. So what? The Nationals got a World Series out of it. Yeah, right. And they also got the Padres farm system for him.
And the Dodgers have a limitless amount of prospects. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of prospects, so.
I mean, well, we saw what happens with that. I mean, some really good players got released today. And
it's tough.
Yeah, it is rough, and at the same time, you just hope that maybe they got released because there's a spot for them on another team.
Maybe
that's what I'm hoping for. But those are good players, and the Dodgers.
The three I remember last year getting released from Tulsa. One of them found a new landing spot, and that was for like about a month. Yeah, so it's pretty tough when they get released.
It is, yeah. I mean, it tarnishes them a bit, but yeah, I'm hopeful that. That you see someone like DePaula get moved up pretty quickly if he earns it. I don't want him to hold him back. I think there is something special. Again, I'm a hitting coach expert. I'm not,
Right.
you've got the high school, all that coaching you've done. And then, you guys are real detail. You guys understand that stuff, but I'm looking forward to you getting your eyes really on him. I think it's going to be, I think you'll be impressed. And I did see, and I told earlier, Andrew Friedman would show up and stuff. And there was a lot of people around when DePaula was out there. And there was, other times, River Ryan would be on the mound. All of a sudden there's here's Rick Honeycutt. And, here's Charlie Huff's coming around and all that stuff. And so some of those really prized guys like that, DePaula was getting the same visibility as those other guys. A lot of people watching him, and there was a lot to watch. And it looks like as an outfielder, I'm not tough to judge a 17-year-old as an outfielder. That's outfield is a lot of work to get good at it and get good reads and everything like that. But he's probably been playing above everyone else for a long time. And and he wasn't even the Dodgers' number one guy. He was signed in the July 2021 one. I can't remember who the top guy was that, because Diaz was the one before that. And then this year it was I thought it was Munoz. No, it was the other guy, the other Vargas. And we have the other Vargas now. Can't remember his other name. Yeah.
Andrew.
Yeah. I haven't met him yet. I got to get that name down. But he wasn't even their top guy, but he's blossoming very quickly. I mean, the guy would literally be a senior in high school.
Right.
And would be subject to the draft this year and would have been a first rounder and gotten, multi-million dollars. I don't think he got near that with the Dodgers. But at the same time, he's on a team that's going to help develop him, and just like I said, I hope they don't hold him back. Let nature take its course.
Yep.
He could. I think one of the criticisms I've heard recently about the Dodgers farm system is there's no superstars in there, and I disagree with that. I think we have a few, and I think he's one of them. Potentially, we're a long way away. But let's see what he can do.
Diego Cartaya's not a superstar.
Yeah,
Dalton
I
Rushing,
think he is.
Johnny DeLuca, Jose Ramos, Damon Keith.
They don't think, people don't. That's whatever, right? That's just opinions, but because they say
James Outman.
What's this guy? Volpe.
All of the pitching.
Yeah, Anthony Volpe is like, because he's a Yankee, and the press just is,
All I know is Tulsa led all of baseball last year in average velocity per pitch at 94.4. So whoever wants to say that there's not top end talent, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead and watch a little bit more Dodgers minor league baseball. You might change your mind.
Well, and they also, the Dodgers have had this big disadvantage. Can you imagine if Andrew Friedman and Billy Casperone and all those guys had a high draft pick?
Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, they DePaula has a chance to be, I think something special. Again, it's fortunately, we're not blasting, or unfortunately we're not blasting all over the place. Hopefully we will be soon, but so the opinion of us is, he's going to take it with a grain of salt, but I think the kid's confident. I think and I didn't have a ton of interaction with him, but I did little chats and stuff like that.
Right.
He might have a good head on his shoulders, and he did grow up. He had what's his name? Stephon Marbury, I think, is a uncle, something like that. So he knows a bit about fame and what's out there. So I think that's kind of an interesting thing. It was another I think it was a basketball player he was related to. So there's kind of the he knows that, and there's some pedigree in there. He definitely got some height. Oh my gosh, 6'3", and that's one of the things. He's 17. Is these kids still growing?
Right.
And so
mentally and physically.
Yeah. And mentally, I mean, shoot. I'm trying to think when I started to mature. I think it was 30. I mean,
3 or 4 days ago, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Guys, it takes a while. So, I mean, yeah, he's got a lot of growing to do. There's a lot going on there, but it's exciting, and I can't wait. I think he sees Rancho by the end of the year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any final thoughts before we get out of here? Well, this has been a great, like I said, we both done the Dodgers top 30 prospects list, and DePaula, I wanted to make sure and get you on here because I didn't have eyes on him. I don't like to talk about guys I haven't had eyes on. And then Doncon, I know you've seen him more than I have, so wanted to get you on here and get your thoughts. So, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I wish I had some video of Doncon. It's kind of a bummer. We got plenty of DePaula. It's on our website, and feel free to grab it.
Yeah, it'd be Dodgers 2080. Yep.
Yes, and and by the way, my website's still down. It's a little email slippage or something like that, but we're recovering. And I'm just very excited about both of those players. We'll see Doncon there at the beginning of the season at Rancho, and he might go fast. So go out and see him, and then we'll see DePaula, and maybe even Casey will come out and see that.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey Tim, I appreciate you. Putting this on as far as talking about those two young men. They're two big prospects, and nobody's seen them more than you have as far as a prospects guy. So wanted to make sure and get all the details from you on this show. So thank you so much. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Hey, just a reminder, fans, we do this Dodgers Prospects every week. Tim and I do. Tim of Dodgers 2080. I'm of Dodgers Daily. And so we would love for you to tune in every week. We drop our new episode every Sunday. This is a special edition because we're covering the MLB Pipeline Dodgers top 30 prospects. Hey, go and become a subscriber. Not only become a subscriber, but turn on those notifications. Click that notification bell. Tell everybody you know, all your Dodgers fans, tell them all about the Dodgers Prospects podcast. That way, while they're watching LA and covering LA, they can also know a little bit about some of the young guys that are coming up in the system straight from Tim and I. We do it each and every week. So, hey, become a subscriber, turn on your notifications, never miss a thing from the Dodgers Prospects. And that way, Tim and I can keep growing this show, and we can keep doing this show and providing it something that we enjoy a lot. We enjoy doing this a lot. So, hey, want to say thank you for tuning in. And as always, go Dodgers.